You know, they say a traumatic memory isn't like watching a film. It's more like a flashbulb going off, over and over in a pitch black room. You never get the whole picture, just these searing, random snapshots. For me, the very first flashbulb, it smells of pine cleaner and floor wax. That's how the night it all happened began, with that simple, clean smell. But that night ended on that exact same floor, face down, listening to a man, a stranger, ask God for forgiveness for what he was about to do to us. I mean, think about that. How strange is it to hear your own killer pray right before he pulls the trigger?
But before all of that, before the flashbulbs, there was just the rhythm of a normal night. You know, the comfortable, quiet routine of closing up the shop. The last customer was long gone, the doors were locked, most of the lights were dimmed. There's a real peace in that routine, a feeling that you're safe.
And you really have to picture where this was. Windsor, North Carolina. This isn't a city. It's a town. The kind of place that's pretty much built on the idea that the worst things in the world, well, they always happen somewhere else, to someone else. And nothing about the humid June air that night suggested that idea was about to be proven so wrong. I was on mopping duty, just that steady, rhythmic back and forth. The slosh of the water in the bucket, the squeak of the mop on the linoleum. That was the last normal sound I would ever hear. The very last moment the world was still playing by the rules I understood. It was just a handful of us finishing up, all of us just thinking about getting home. And then the rhythm just broke. It wasn't a sound, not at first. It was more like a change in the air pressure, a sudden, total stillness where there should have been motion. I saw a shadow in aisle 3 that just didn't belong. And the animal part of your brain, it starts screaming before the logical part can even figure out why. He just stepped out, and in that second, the world didn't just tilt, it completely fractured. One moment, it's a grocery store, and the next, it's a cage. A man with a gun can turn a place with fluorescent lights and canned food into the most terrifying place on earth, and you're trapped inside. With him. The strangest part was, there was no rage in him. That's what was so unnerving. It wasn't anger. It was just a task on a checklist. He had dog leashes. Can you even believe that? Dog leashes. He just went down the line, one by one, binding our hands, and I can still feel the plastic cinching into my wrists with this cold, terrifying efficiency. There were 6 of us. Then he made us lie down, face to the floor, the same floor I'd just finished cleaning. He paired us up, stacking us, one on top of the other. I could feel the frantic, panicked heartbeat of my coworker pressed right against my back. My cheek was flat against the cold tile, and that smell of pine cleaner was now mixed with the metallic taste of pure, absolute fear. You know, time just dissolves in a moment like that. There's only the waiting. The sound of his footsteps on the linoleum. The unbearable, crushing weight of what's coming next. He said his prayer. God forgive me. And then he started his work. The bang. It was absolute. An impossible, deafening sound that just rips through the world. It's the sound that ends a story. The sound of finality. A life just gone. Right beside me. I squeezed my eyes shut. I braced myself. Okay, it's my turn. This is it. This is the end. But there was no bang. There was just a click. A hollow, metallic, completely useless sound. And I swear to you, in that moment, that dead little click was the most beautiful, life-affirming sound I have ever heard in my entire life. For maybe half a second, the whole universe just held its breath. I could hear him muttering under his breath, fumbling with the gun. A tiny mechanical failure, a little piece of metal that didn't do what it was supposed to do. A split second of impossible, unbelievable hope. But hope, it doesn't last long when you're on the floor like that. It's a flash, and then it's gone. He didn't even hesitate. He dropped the gun, and he came back with a knife. The plan hadn't failed. It had just changed methods. In the middle of the chaos, the screaming, something just broke his focus. He was on me, and then he was gone. He just stopped, and he ran. And in the ringing silence that he left behind, only one thought managed to surface through all the terror. I have to call for help. I couldn't stand up, but I could crawl. Every single part of my body was screaming in pain. But the will to live, well, it was screaming louder. I pulled myself across that floor. The only thing in my entire universe was that phone on the office wall. It was the only way out. Getting to that phone felt like an impossible journey. Every inch was a fight. But I made it. I dialed. And then I heard it. A sound from the outside world, the world that was still safe. Sirens. They were faint at first, but then they got louder and louder. That was the sound of survival. The aftermath. It's so cold. It's clinical. Under those harsh fluorescent lights, the numbers are just laid bare. 6 of us started the closing shift. 4 were dead. 2 survived. Just random, brutal math. For 30 years, I've replayed that click, that single moment. Why did the gun jam right then, on me? Why, when he came back with the knife, did he just stop? Why was I the one left to crawl to the phone? Why me? It's the one question that never goes away, long after the sirens fade and the years pass. In an act of destruction that was so meticulously planned, what is the logic? In a single random act of mercy, what's the reason you let one person walk away to tell the tale?